I'm Keisha Butts with a CTV News update. Police reform is on the minds of many these days. Here in Prince George's County, where a reform task force was recently created, a coalition of groups is having its say. Byron Scott has our story.
Policing takes center stage in Prince George's County today. A coalition of groups, including Black and Hispanic police officers in the county, are making recommendations to the recently formed Prince George's Policing Task Force. The groups held a virtual press conference today to discuss some of their ideas. Among them, adoption of an enhanced affirmative action plan, overhaul policies and practices to remove racial bias, and programs to improve diversity in the specialty units.
You have to earn respect within your community. And the way you earn respect is showing them that you will be a part of the community. You will address an issue if you see that an officer is out of line. You build a police force that wants to learn from their mistakes. Instead of getting punished for reporting misconduct, officers should get called out when they fail to report it.
The task force will be meeting throughout the summer. It's expected to make recommendations to the county executive by October 30th. I'm Byron Scott.
Here's a COVID-19 update. Maryland reports 664 new cases tonight, along with 5 deaths. The testing positivity rate remains relatively low at about 4.5%. Health officials continue to stress that you wear masks in public and practice social distancing. It's been 2 months since 44-year-old Shantae Mack died of the coronavirus. Mack worked for the Prince George's Health Department. According to officials, Mack asked twice for permission to work from home, and both times she was deemed essential and told no. Mack lost her life this spring after COVID-19 struck the county's health department. Maryland Senator Ben Cardin is sponsoring a measure to address COVID-19 health disparities. The bill would require targeted testing, contact tracing, and special outreach efforts in minority communities. Cardin says health disparities for minorities is rooted in systemic racism and income inequality. Former President Barack Obama joins Joe Biden in a new campaign video as they step up their attacks against Donald Trump. The Democrats blame President Trump for stoking racial divisions. They also say he's had a poor response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We're now in a situation where not only we've got an economic crisis, but we also have a public health crisis to boot. Tell me a little bit about how you're seeing the current economic crisis and how you're thinking about the economy right now.
Well, Mr. President, there's 3 pieces I see. One, we have got to sustain and keep people from going under forever. There's already 10,000 businesses that are not likely to open again, a significant number of small business and minority businesses.
Right.
Number 2, when they're able to come back, they not only are able to keep their folks employed on a payroll, but they're able to cover overhead.
The Biden-Obama campaign video was released today. 2 Maryland senators sponsor a measure to honor the legacy of the late John Lewis. Democrats Chris Van Hollen and Ben Cardin have introduced the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. The measure would restore voting rights protections gutted by the Supreme Court in 2013. 1 man is dead after an early morning shooting in Morningside. Officers were called to the 6400 block of Suitland Road around 1:30 a.m. When they arrived, police found an adult male on the ground suffering from gunshot wounds. He died a short time later. Anyone with information on the incident is asked to contact Crime Solvers at 1-866-411-TIPS. Bowie police arrest and charge 3 suspects after an armed robbery at a Best Buy on Collington Road last night. 2 victims agreed to meet one of the suspects through the online marketplace OfferUp to trade a pair of Apple AirPods for a PlayStation 4. After the exchange, it's reported that 2 other suspects ran up with handguns and robbed the victims. Officers later found all 3 suspects at the intersection of Old Marlboro Pike and Westphalia Road. They reportedly admitted to conspiring to meet and rob the victims. As the pandemic continues, health officials say they've noticed a spike in mental health issues, especially in low-income communities. Medicaid plan, a mayor group, says there's an uptick in depression among its members, as many people are dealing with limited resources, including food insecurity. We recently spoke with behavioral health specialist Radhika Vars about how low-income communities are impacted.
We are finding that folks are asking for supports with job training, and places where they can get any kind of financial assistance. So we're definitely finding a lot more requests for these kinds of gaps in their supports, and which ultimately has a bigger impact on their health. So lack of nutrition is going to have an impact on their diabetes. That's going to have an impact on their mental health. So it's all interconnected.
Vars says AmeriGroup has several resources that can help, including telehealth and Psych Hub. Restaurants aren't the only businesses doing curbside pickup. This week, the county's library system is joining the growing trend. Customers can now drive up for the library service, but you must reserve items online and make an appointment.
Our name of the game is supporting the community and providing access to information and resources. And as soon as the conditions with the public health emergency enabled us to safely begin to bring staff back and to resume some of our physical services, it was very important that we do that as soon as possible. And we are maintaining those virtual services and virtual content as we go through the reopening plan. While unfortunately folks can't access our computers yet, we do have the opportunity for folks to check out books, movies, other materials that they might be interested in accessing. This is the great time to be doing summer reading.
Curbside pickup will be available at 16 branch locations from Tuesday through Saturday. For more information, visit the Prince George's County Memorial Library System's website. Baseball, it's called America's pastime. This was the scene last fall, the final game of the World Series. The Nats were facing Houston and the Astros were down to their final out.
Here they are, 1 strike away, 1 out away. 3-2. There it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
The Washington Nationals won the World Series, of course, and tonight they begin defending their title as they match up against the New York Yankees. The first pitch is at 7:08 p.m. Because of the pandemic, the Major League Baseball season is starting 4 months late and is limited to 60 games. By the way, health expert Anthony Fauci will throw out the first pitch at the Nationals Park tonight. And that wraps up our CTV News update. Join us again tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Have a good night.
On COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. That's PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
You're looking at me in the future. Okay. Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
Wait a second.
Do you know who I am?
Julia.
This is Jaina. Into the future. I just wanted to talk to you about what happened with those 2 girls.
Oh, yeah?
Do you remember it was this girl that I was getting bullied by that one day at PE when they were like yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me? I don't think you know how much like that helped me, because like I finally like knew that I had somebody. Because of you, Isaac, and what you did for me years ago, I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just be a little bit more confident.
Aw, I'm like a little tearing up right now. Just to see her in the future just blossom and look beautiful, and that was really amazing.
Here are your AARP top tips on caregiver preparedness during coronavirus. First, form a caregiving team. Create a list of people in your family and friend network who can help with caregiving tasks. Take an inventory of supplies in your loved one's home. Try to have a 2-week supply of essential items. Make a list of the care recipient's medications and medical contacts. Be sure to have prescriptions on hand and ask the pharmacist for an extra 30-day supply. Make a plan to stay connected. To prevent social isolation, set up available technology to help loved ones stay connected and schedule regular chats. Finally, maintain your own self-care. Follow the Centers for Disease Control's guidelines for coronavirus safety. And have a backup plan for care in case you become ill. For more caregiving tips during the coronavirus pandemic, go to aarp.org/caregiving.
I moved to Florida with literally pennies in my pocket and a prayer. I needed a new start. Dacian looks like a very typical 3-year-old until you ask him, "What's your name? How old are you?" My son has a lot of behaviors that would show as being autistic. Most kids can tolerate a variety of foods, but unfortunately for Dacian, everything has to be organic and raw. I wasn't ashamed to go to the food pantries. It's expensive to eat healthy, and nutrition is very important to Dacian's health. The healthy organic food that we receive dramatically helped his social skills. Most people would say, she really doesn't have much of a life. But to me, I have everything right there next to me and my son.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him, he's gotta come home with me. Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
Scrolling all day, time can disappear. Wanna make it count, why not volunteer?
Posting pics of your food, that takes up time. Time, you've got time to binge all of season 9, though it got so bad.
Time, you got time. We're gonna grow back and be the same browse you had.
Just a few hours to keep families from harm. Help us end home fires with Sound the Alarm.
Volunteer for a day to install free smoke alarms in your community.
Here are AARP top tips on caregiver preparedness during coronavirus. Form a team that can help with caregiving tasks. Take an inventory of essential supplies in your loved one's home. Make a list of the care recipient's medications. Schedule regular calls to fight isolation. Finally, take care of yourself too. Follow the Centers for Disease Control's guidelines for coronavirus safety. For more caregiving tips, go to aarp.org/caregiving.
Native American contributions are all around us. Here's one. Can you find it? Camouflage. More at sacredpeople.org.